Good morning, lovely souls. Happy Friday. I waited a little bit longer this morning until the sun was up, rather than kind of come down here in the pitch black. So just to my left, beautiful golden sunrise, and we've had some wild and funky November weather in the UK. And I'm reading a book at the moment, which was sent to me by a lovely lady called Linda Hulley. And it's another one of the series. With David Esri and I, we ran a workshop last year based on the book called The Seven Beloved Archangels Speak. And that was the information was presented by a guy called Thomas Prince. At the moment, I'm reading The Beloved Mary Speaks, same series, same channels, and some of the information in there is absolutely mind-blowing, considering that it was channeled in 1954. This is what amazes me at the moment, is I'm beginning to kind of find all of these wonderful kind of nuggets of information that have been brought through in what I would consider a time that was very immersed in the third dimension. So we're talking about some pure channels and some pure information here. And I haven't finished reading it yet, but what I've read so far, Beloved Mary is talking about her life as mother of Yeshua, how she came before she stood before the karmic board before her incarnation, went through a set of very rigorous tests where she was tested by the Elohim, she was tested by the Ascended Masters, she was tested by the karmic board herself, so that she could prove that her body and her mind and her spiritual focus was absolutely in the top tier class, and that when she came to Earth and occupied a physical body like we do, she was able to undergo the tests and the initiations and hold the purity and the clarity to allow Yeshua, or Jesus as he was known, to grow into his role and ultimately go through the tests that he did. So it kind of alternates between stories about their life together as he was growing up, and also how she was interacting with the Board of Karma, and Serapis Bey, Lord Maitreya, and Kuan Yin is mentioned on a regular basis as being the souls that she interacts with, and it amazes me because it's almost completely the same level of setup that we're working with at the moment. Now, in 1954, Mary, in her ascended state, approached the karmic board, having witnessed a new inflow of souls coming into the planet, and this is what really caught my interest. She said that the karmic board would process roughly 3 million souls and assess them for coming to Earth and occupying a physical body. So all of these different souls, all from around the universe, different monads, different oversouls, would queue up to come down to here, to Earth. And I can hear you go, why? And I've asked that question many times, and we kind of joke about it. It's like, once you're down here, it's like, why did I queue up for countless incarnations to go through this experience? But this is where it gets interesting. So for every 3 million souls that go through the kind of it's almost like going through the gateway at Gatwick or any airport terminal to catch your flight, sort of thing. So every 3 million, only 1 million will get the opportunity to incarnate. So 1 out of every 3 passes the kind of the rigorous energy tests of the karmic board. So at the moment we've got about 8 billion people living on this planet, and it would be one of his 16, so it would have been out of the 24 billion people that would have applied to come to Earth, we've got the 8 billion living on Earth at the moment, coming in waves and droves of incarnations coming in. Now obviously the the circumstances have greatly changed since 1954, and we were talking about post-war United States, post-war UK, Europe, you know, all around the world. And from 2012 onwards, the process of karma and incarnation has changed. Now, all of the children that are coming through the Ascension gateway from 2012 onwards are pretty much karma free. They're coming down here, they're locked, they're loaded with their 12 chakras, their 12 strand DNA is all singing, all dancing, and they pick their parents very carefully. Now, they either pick their parents to wake them up, or they pick their parents due to the fact that they already have the spiritual facilities and the focus to support them when they come down here. And what really struck me was in one of the chapters, in 1954, Mary had witnessed a million souls passing through the gateways, and all of these souls were carrying incredibly heavy karma. They were due to incarnate on Earth, and when they did so, they were going to be carrying the weight of not only their karma from previous incarnations, but they'd offered to take on the karmic role of others. So all of this would have happened in the 1950s and the 1960s, and she very deliberately petitioned the karmic board to offer them grace, so that when they did come down to Earth and occupy these roles, that their physical forms wouldn't carry so much of that karmic weight. And I thought that was an incredible thing to do. So at the moment, we're looking at situations where we've got waves of change going on around our planet. All of the karmic circumstances that we've worked so hard to clear, and we're talking, this was going back on in the 1950s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Now, the 80s saw a significant event where the kind of the gateways to the heavens opened again, and we started receiving and becoming integrated again with the energies that were put away at the fall of Atlantis. And I think that happened in 1986 or 1987, when the gifts that we were previously graced with during Atlantean times and other and the other golden eras, which had been removed for almost the entire passage through 3D, started to return. So, and that would have been, I think that was known as the harmonic convergence. And then so you're moving from that point of time right up to 2012, when you've got the cosmic moment, which has exploded into our lives in the last 10 years or so, bringing the most incredible spiritual change to the planet. So I'm keeping swigging the coffee this morning because it's quite chilly down here. So at the moment, we're just about to walk through the gateway that marks the halfway point. And I know that I've mentioned this many times, and people ask me, well, how do you know it's the halfway point? Does it look like the halfway point? Everything looks like, you know, it looks like our reality's actually being torpedoed, and everything's completely going to rack and ruin. Well, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the change. The whole point of the change is to dissemble the structures that existed previously, demolish them, and replace them with higher structures. And of course, that with any form of demolition, be it physical or be it energetic, there is always going to be an interim period where things are messy. So never before in the history of Mother Earth hosting a school, which she has been, but Earth has been a 3D school, have we seen so many souls simultaneously in a state of awakening, and so many souls that are coming through who are actually here to provide the foundations, the skills, the energies, the mindsets, the spiritual focus for the next phase. But what I'm thinking of doing, and what I think would be a really beautiful point of focus for all of us around the kind of the solstice time, is to maybe do exactly what beloved Mary did and approach the karmic board and petition for the structured and, I'd say, more gentle wake-up process for those of us around the world who, though, you know, we're waiting for our brothers and our sisters to catch up at the moment. You know, we number many. We number in the billions now. The lights have gone on in the last 2 or 3 years so brightly that we can reach out and we can touch and we can witness wherever we're going people who've woken up, or people that we would categorize as waking up. You know, and I spoke about this in kind of classing wake-ups in a non-judgmental way not so long ago, when you when you witness somebody who you would not class as unplugged from the matrix, a lot of judgment can come into that situation. Well, why haven't you woken up? How can you not see? With all of this that's going on in front of your very eyes, how can you still remain oblivious to what is occurring on this planet? But that is all due to soul contracts and soul wake-ups, as I stated previously. When a soul is designated to walk through the Ascension gateway and begin the journey, that will be a very finely allocated time. That will have been agreed between that soul in incarnation, in physical, and the team that is overseeing their journey here on the planet. The Ascended Masters, the angels, the Guardian Angel, the dragons, the unicorns, all of the other souls that have contributed to that physical presence here on Earth are patiently waiting, just like you and I are, for that light to switch on. And when the light switches on, the journey begins. And it's a combination at the moment of the magnitude of the lights that are going on around the planet versus, or kind of in kind of like reflection and almost paradox to the quantity that are insisting. You kind of like, you know, we witness it as almost or perceive it as insisting on staying asleep. That isn't the case. It's all due to the timing. And the more I look into this, the more especially more of this book that I read, the more confirmation I receive about how absolutely finely tuned and orchestrated every single little part of this journey that we are all upon. Of course, being in a 3D environment, there's always the chance that things can kind of go off in a tangent, go off in a different direction, or as the term came to me years ago, exceeding its creative potential. Now, exceeding the creative potential means technically that a lesson has been learned and a circumstance has been witnessed and experienced, but it keeps on snowballing in the same direction because it's planet Earth, and sometimes those things happen. And that's quite often when grace intervenes and it's like, okay, you've had enough of that situation, pull you out of it and put you somewhere else. So I think, and I really do feel very strongly that we're going to come out of this December solstice that is approaching so rapidly, and we're going to be witnessing and part of some monumental changes going on in the world around us. Now, you might be kind of hearing the rumblings from 3D about, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and I hear the constant dark cloud, or the trigger point that they are using, which is conflict, global conflict. Now that immediately it lights up the survival candles within each and even the strongest of us, because we've been through so many experiences in our past lives, whether in physical or witnessing the occurrences on this planet, where conflict has been very much on the forefront. So immediately that's kind of like placed on the table. We respond to it, we react to it, unless we are very, very vigilant in keeping our vibration as high as possible. And this again, I'm going to kind of do a full circle back to the book. Mary, or beloved Mary, as she's referred to continuously, because she is the work that woman did in physical and non-physical was absolutely, it was top drawer. It's about as intense as you could possibly get, especially holding that level of light, that level of spiritual focus, and that open-heartedness in literally the darkest and the densest time of 3D. And the job that she did, and the job that she did in harmony with Yeshua, literally opened the doorways to where we are going now and enabled that quantity of heart-based Christ consciousness to be anchored into this planet. And her spiritual discipline was second to none. Okay, either in physical or non-physical, she employed the same protocols to keep her vibration high, her frequency sharp, her manifestation powers just absolutely focused fully on the job in hand. Now, back in those days, there were considerably less distractions than we have. So by distractions, I mean you're watching me now on a screen. The computer screens are a distraction, phones are a distraction, TVs are a distraction. All of this kind of input that we've got it was very, very different back then. So it was, in many ways, it was easier to create yourself that solitude and that point of focus that you need. So I would believe that our jobs are almost, you could describe it as a lot harder nowadays to keep that light and keep that focus, but that is what we are being asked to do at the moment. Each of us are being asked to bring in as much of that spiritual discipline and that spiritual focus that we possibly can. Be like beloved Mary. Whatever we're doing, pick a task and focus upon it. Give it 100%. Pour all of your body and soul into that particular point of focus and allow it to grow. Allow it to actually be that vision of perfection, rather than maybe having 10 different things that we're flitting between. And I'm great for this as well. Something will catch my interest, then another thing will catch my interest, and all of a sudden my attention, my focus, my manifestation is scattered. It might be attending to things that are of a high frequency, but they're only getting a percentage of my time. So in order to perfect that focus, that spiritual discipline that we are striving for, pick your point of focus. Okay, pick something that you would like to grow. Pick it carefully. Let it be in alignment with your heart, because as soon as you will know when you found what it is, be it a crystal, be it a form of healing, be it accessing and building on some information you might have received from Atlantis or from the cosmos, your connections to the star beings. Focus on it because it is part of your soul mission, and allow it to grow it. Tend to it like you would a garden, or tend to it like you would a vegetable patch. You dig the soil, you perfect the soil, you dig the hole then to plant the seed in, then you allow the seed to grow, you water it, you provide it with light, you provide it with nutrients. When the plant begins to grow, you provide it with, nearly dropped my skull, you provide it with a stick which you gently tie around it, and you allow that, and you allow the plant to grow upwards, and the leaves spread outwards. They receive more light, and the whole thing grows into a plant, a tree, a vegetable, fruit, whatever you want it to be. But it has received your attention, your unconditional love, and the ability for you to connect with it and turn it into your own project. So part of the distractions that we are privy to at the moment aren't just coming from a low frequency source. They're not just coming from garbage that's being kind of placed through the TV screen from the media in an attempt to distract us. We're becoming very fractured because our attention is on so many things at once. Bring it back to center. I believe this is the message that we are receiving, is to perfect our form, perfect ourselves, as within so without. Okay, and whatever we are choosing to do with the form at this particular time. So this is, it doesn't necessarily even have to be what you'd call, in inverted commas, a spiritual hobby or a focus. It can be something or anything within your life that requires your dedication, requires your frequency and your vibration, and put that form into perfection. And having read this book and listened to how beloved Mary did this, she would just put absolutely every aspect of her focus and her attention and intention into achieving her goal, her focus, her prize. And when that focus is aligned, and it's aligned with the heart, it's aligned with the third eye, and the stream of consciousness that is coming in to support, then it rapidly grows and flourishes and aligns with the frequency of creation from a fifth dimensional perspective. So that's just a little bit of food for thought today about how we're being asked to refine our process. And it could even just be attention for self. Again, previously we've been looking at the concept of self-love, and yeah, going back to what I was saying earlier on about, I think it would be I'm very much aligned with the idea of coming into the solstice is creating a petition for those that are resonating with it to approach the karmic board to allow for an easier passage for the souls that are waking up at the moment, because so many that are coming into the light, who are waking up, who are going through the crucifixion, the tunnel, the dark night of the soul. There's a lot of suffering that's going on. There's a lot of pressure, and you know, those initiations and those passages are tough enough as it is, without people being absolutely drilled in the way that they are. And that's just my personal perspective on anyway. The faster we can move into our roles, the more efficiently we can do our job. Okay, and the more efficiently we can do our job, the more focused we can be, and we can allow this next phase of the process to happen so much, not necessarily faster, but with more fluidity. Okay, so wishing you all the most beautiful Friday wherever you are in the world, and I'm going to be back on Tuesday the 22nd with the second half of my my November workshop series, which is ascending from the 3D matrix and reclaiming our light. And got some interesting subject matter for that. Now, if you didn't sign up for the first one, you can still sign up for the second one and receive the recording for the first one. And yeah, looking forward to that. Sending you all lots of love. See you soon. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye for now.